Ladies and gentlemen, okay, we've just done the first phase of the audit here. It is the town. That's the town. Let's update the HUD to make sure we're up to date before we do Witch Hunt. We're currently at 117 pluses to story and 27 negatives to story. Then we're going to go with gameplay with 69 pluses to gameplay. Anybody who makes a joke will be instantly banned. And 54 negatives to gameplay. And that's where we're at right now. So, I wanted to address something, though. Lord Harrimont mentioned something. And it was a question. It's a very, very valid question. Probably not, no, Lothario. Not at this point. DOS 2 is just too proven of a success record. So, someone asked, if a DLC is a net positive in score, does that raise the golden number? The answer is no. Well, or more accurately, the answer is maybe. And no, Awakening was actually a net positive by 2. A whopping 2. But it was a net positive. But here's the problem. So, obviously, we factor in a lot of math when it comes to the review system. For good reason. It's a very complex system that I'm very proud of. So I want you to imagine a hypothetical scenario. This is not Dragon Age, but just picture this with me, okay? Let's say there's a game that's doing really, really, really well. So if you're to somehow rate the golden number like every hour or so, the number is going up and up and up because it's just got a wonderful density of positives. But let's say you hit the DLC. Now let's say that the DLC is still a net positive, but it's like 10 hours of slog. So across those 10 hours, it's decent and does some decent stuff, but you only get like 2 positives for a huge portion of time. That will likely actually lower the golden number overall because of the fact that all of a sudden the ratio of positives to time, aka the density, has been stretched out, and so the whole game suffers for the empty air. Make sense? So even though a DLC might have a net positive score, that's only the original title, the original number. Now, there's other variables there as well, but I just thought I'd give a hypothetical to add one of the layers to it, because, again, not necessarily is the answer. Now, let's go ahead and get the game going. And do Witch Hunt. As the Orlesian Warden, who has absolutely no reason to go after Morgan for any reason whatsoever, we're just going to do that. Witch Hunt. I want my baby. Or more accurately, Loghain's baby.
Flemeth once told me that temptation lies in the forbidden. Do not follow me, I said, yet you search even so. Some doors should never be reopened.
Ain't that the truth? I'm glad you're here, Barkspawn. We'll find her. Don't worry. And we'll make her pay! Hey, Warcraft Code. So yeah, Darkspawn. This DLC is another weird example of, because unless you had a child with Morgan, there's not a lot of reasons to do this. I don't mean that as a negative, really. It's just, they really wanted you to chase after Morgan because this is when they did their to be continued, which wouldn't be followed through on until Inquisition. So, why are we here? And I know what you're thinking. I could come up with an answer, and you can. So can I. But the game apparently cannot, because the game never answers that question. We're just after Morgan. The only answer this actual DLC gives, there's actually 2, excuse me. There's only 2 answers the DLC itself gives for why we're hunting her. We're either hunting her because she's got our child, or we have to kill her. Revenge. Mwahaha, right? That's it. Two options. No other options given. And yeah, it is very strange in a game that has gotten an inordinate quantity of choices, gameplay positives, and a lot of variants for both her and how she can play. And where's my weapon? Oh my god. Okay, we'll have to live with that, I suppose. Okay, cool. Revenge from what? That's a good question.
Not another step. What are you doing here?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Lothario.
Call off your hound, Shem.
Loretta here has zero reason to go after Morrigan. In fact, Loretta respects Morrigan enough to respect her wishes and leave her be, which just makes this even more egregious in this exact case. We will be going through the keep. Yes, Warcraft code. Will I be showing you every choice I made? We'll see. We'll get there. We'll get there. Give me a few more days. Easy, boy. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Fine, I'll start then. I am Ariane, of the Dalish people. My keeper sent me to find Asha Belinar, the woman of many years.
Okay, cool. You realize Flemeth is dead, right?
Many have tried to kill Asha Belinar in the past. Do not claim victory until a few centuries have passed with no sight of her. We thought she could help us find her daughter, Morrigan. The young witch has caused trouble for my clan. Has she earned your ire as well?
Yes, and when I find her, I'm going to kill her. Or, she's a friend and I'm concerned for her. I'm telling you, there's two options here.
A friend? Of all the words associated with a witch of the wilds, those are the last I expected. Perhaps you can reason with her then. Morrigan stole an ancient book my clan has guarded since the days of Arlathan. We were the only ones with such a piece of our history. Everything we once had, all legacy of our ancient magics were stripped from us. First by the Tevinter Magisters, then by the Wretched Circle. And Morrigan took what little was left.
Okay. What's so special about your book?
For almost 2,000 years, the Dalish people have been wanderers, a shadow of what we once were. This book, as much of a mystery as it is to us, is one of the only clues on how to reclaim that past. My keeper, Solon, says it was a treatise on something the ancients called Eluvian. The word is as old as the book itself, and its meaning has been lost, save perhaps to Morrigan.
So now what?
Help me. We both want Morrigan, and we can aid each other. The Book of Eluvian was reclaimed for my clan by an elven mage, who stole it from the Circle of Magi before defecting. He said other similar treasures remain in the library, but they would never allow a Dalish to view them. Perhaps you will meet a different reception.
I mean, yeah, I'm from the Circle.
Masirinus, I look forward to working with you.
The Illuvions are interesting, and I like what they do with them later, admittedly. Admittedly. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, we've got all this new stuff, but no, get that, and that, and, that, and that. Yeah, it just keeps being a problem, Geludo. It is what it is. There's not a lot to add to it. Yeah, Barkspawn has become the tank. So we'll give you, whoops. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Right.
Oh my god, Darkspawn everywhere. Die! Die, everything! Oh, sorry. Okay, they're all dead. They're all dead. I am not better, but thank you for asking, Warcraft Code. Last Tuesday, I want to say, it's been a week now, jeez. I had a day-long spent my time in the bathroom day. You know the type. That was fun. And then I had a I'm still recovering, and then I had like a resurgence of something else yesterday, which I am still recovering from. May or may not be the same illness. I don't know. All right. Well, I guess we'll go to the circle. Do 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 do. Listen, Warcraft. He was busy.
Ferelden's Circle of Magi. Please, keep your hound under control. Some of the apprentices are easily startled. And I see you have a Dalish elf with you.
Is that a problem?
Nope.
What is that supposed to mean? Most Dalish are common thieves?
As you say, the Circle is glad to have you as a guest. As you can see, things are much changed.
It's fine,
from when
Yura.
you were
It's
last
fine.
Here.
Where's Gregor at?
Gregor is in Denerim, attending to some important business. My name is Hadley. I lead the Templars in the Knight Commander's absence.
Cool. Can I hit the library?
If you're looking for a book, you can start in the Index section. As the Warden Commander, you and your guests are free to explore the first floor of the tower without an escort. Good day to you.
So we do have to actually answer this question.
Solon did not want me to come here. It is all too tempting to overturn the tight order of their little world.
Lady, you are here under my auspices. You do something wrong, I will end you. They will not find anything left of your body. Are we clear? We have to decide if it's a negative for the fact that this DLC just kind of happens. Whether you really... Like, it's weird because it's a DLC, but it's also main plot. Like, functionally, this doesn't really count. Like you can't just be like, I'm just going to not do this quest, and it doesn't count for negatives. We talked about that. That's not how the system works. So, there's just... I don't know. I'm explaining this so badly. There's so little reason to do this quest. Unless you romanced Morrigan and that's your child. Right? So that's kind of... It works great for that. Here, let me put it to you in very specific terms. Let's assume that you killed your warden after Origins, which is a valid choice. So you played the Orlesian Warden in Awakening. So then you do Witch Hunt as the Orlesian Warden. Why? Keep in mind, the Orlesian Warden probably shouldn't even know who Morrigan is, but you can. I mean, at least Golems of Omgarok had a dude reach out to you personally and say, hey, please help me with this. Which is at least something that makes a tiny bit of sense. This is just, we must find Morrigan. I mean, it's right there on the cover. Witch Hunt. The Orlesian Warden took one look at the cover of the game and was like, aha!
Never thought I'd see her back here.
A pity Cullen's not here.
He's not still carrying a torch for her, is he?
I hope not. He's been at the Chantry in Greenfell for some time. Nice quiet village, lots of fresh air, good for the nerves. The Knight Commander told him he could return here when he, leveled out.
I'm just glad he's gone. He was so twitchy. And that intense stare? Oh, creepy.
Also, as a reminder, Cullen is currently in Kirkwall. In Dragon Age 2. I will never stop pointing out the fact that the DLCs of Origins and 2 are happening at the same time. Come on, people. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, so you're giving a negative to this game for it. No. By definition, this game is not the one that made the mistake. It's the next one that did. Dragon Age 2 will actually get negatives for external continuity, if for nothing else than for that. So, yeah, that's where that's going to lie. Why do you give me loot in this DLC?
Between the sheets.
No!
I'll tell you about it later.
Right. Anyways. So no, I have never reviewed ESL.
Let's not. Oh, all right, a little. You have to admit, it's tempting, right? All these mages, So complacent, thinking they're so important. You think I need to relax? Well, maybe.
Anyways, no, I've never reviewed ESO. In fact, I've never even beaten ESO. I've beaten approximately a third of ESO vanilla.
Warden?
Enchantment?
Sandal?
Enchantment! Enchantment!
Yes.
By the way, at this point, Sandal should also be in Kirkwall.
Bodan is trading in Redcliffe. If you're interested in his goods, I believe Sandal has some of them to offer you.
Sure. Come on, game. You're making it too easy at this point. Wow, that's a lot of crap. Look at all this. Well, since money is officially meaningless, yeah, let's buy a couple things here, shall we? Apparently, Dr. Winter, Jesus. Um... That's what I thought. And remember, you can put it towards up to 3 things Warcraft code, but I will absolutely put that towards ESO. Screw it, let's leave it. You know, that's a good question, but I've always assumed Witch Hunt is supposed to be last because, like, this is the to be continued. This is the thing that leads into Inquisition. This is the thing I was expecting to lead into 2.
All these books. I've never seen so many.
Which it does not. I'm just going to give that away right now.
Is that a purebred Mabari? I wish I had one. They should allow pets in the tower.
Don't you remember the Dragonling disaster? There's bits of Ivan still burnt onto the ceiling on the 3rd floor.
I'm talking about common pets. Dogs, cats, rats, owls, that sort of thing.
Owls? What sort of mage has an owl as a pet?
Wah, wah. There's a studio out there that does remasters as, like, their main thing. And for the life of me, I can't think of their name, but they're my first thought, Dr. Winter. Is it night? Hang on, hang on. Take your time. For the sake of simplicity, I'm not going to write that down until you give me all 3, though, Warcraft code, if that's okay with you. It is Night Dive. I'm right. Or rather, excuse me, you're right. I'm wrong. So yeah, Night Dive, I could see them doing some decent work with it. There is actually another one, now that I think about it. One moment. Is it Skybound? No, that's not them. Ah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. Let's move on. Well, I will not take my time with it, Warcraft code, because I never do. But I will take my time with it, because I always do. Beam Dog. That's who I was thinking of. I still think I'd probably give that to Night Dive, but Beam Dog or Night Dive could probably do a decent job with it. Oh, well, whatever. Wait. Is it not gonna... There it is. They don't call me the Lord Runner for nothing, you know?
Don't gawk. I hear they cut out your eyes for staring at their tattoos.
They do not.
They do. I read it somewhere.
And you believe everything you read, do you?
Better safe than sorry, I say.
Oh, I'm with you, Jesse Ward. The problem is they put the whole burrito together, then put it in, like, the microwave or whatever they do. I prefer it if you microwave everything and then add the cold ingredients later. Tomato, lettuce, sour cream. All three of those, I think, should be cold, even in a hot thing, in my opinion. Okay, hold up. What am I doing here? I've lost my train of thought. Okay, that didn't help. Yeah, hot sour cream, aside from just being nuclear, is not super fun. This is it, right? Oh, apparently not. Okay, whatever. You know...
The body of the Templar who went after those apostates near Higher.
Micah, it's terrible what they did to him.
They say he was force-fed so much lyrium he was bleeding from the eyes. His brain was liquefied in his skull.
Can lyrium really do that?
It can kill you, but... Well, you know how rumors are. Those pisses give us all a bad name. Now some Templar will take it out on an innocent mage and start the cycle all over again.
It's okay, the Mage-Templar War, despite the fact that they keep trying to make a big deal out of it, kind of isn't.
As you wish.
I'm barely joking. Like, they keep being like, oh my god, the Mage-Templar War. Oh, but also here's this other thing. And then the game focuses on the other thing.
I recognize the character on this page. I think it makes up part of the word Illuvian.
Excellent.
I think so. The script is strange, but it must be. This is a library, isn't it? Perhaps another book could help us translate this.
I already found the... Oh my god. I apparently did this out of order.
Kirkwall?
In the Free Marches, dolt. Half of Ferelden fled there in the Blight. They say there's a refugee camp twice as big as the city. Whole place is run by Templars, though, so no one is getting in. They heard what happened here, made them kind of jumpy.
Everyone's a critic.
No, Lothario. My opinion. Don't mistake me, they're good. But Dragon Age Origins, Mass Effect 2, Neverwinter Nights 1, they're not there yet. Having said that, Larian's damn good. They've put out DOS 2 and Baldur's Gate 3, which I consider both to be excellent games. Both 200-plus games. And DOS 1 has its problems, but is still a very fun game. And I'll stop the list there. But the fact is, that's still a good track record. So it would actually depend, Zactaf. Not every lightsaber would have the same output. It would depend on the specific person wielding the lightsaber, since in the Star Wars rewrite, a lightsaber is actually just a way to project an individual's force power. The original Divinity games, they definitely exist, Lothario.
You think you could sneak up on the mage over there? How high do you think he'd throw those things if he turned around and saw you looming over him? Oh, lighten up. This place is like a tomb. A few surprises would be good for them. Warden, your dog is lecturing me again.
Yeah, he does that.
As you wish.
Oh, who let a dog in here? And what are you doing? Be careful!
Be careful with what?
Wait, I know you. You're the Grey Warden Mage. The hero. This is even worse. Didn't they teach you proper care of antique volumes in the first year? Maker. People save the country and suddenly they think they can abuse priceless books all willy-nilly.
Are you familiar with this book?
I've used it, but I don't know it by heart. Browsing the chapter on the Illuvians. No one's actually found one, you know.
Well,
Know what Illuvian is?
It's Old Elvish for seeing glass. Mirror.
your keeper couldn't translate the word for mirror.
It's a 2,000-year-old dialect.
She's right. The word is from the lost language of Arlathan, forgotten over eons of slavery. I only know a few dozen words of it, and I'm the Circle's linguist. Illuvian isn't just any mirror. It's a special kind. When the Imperium sacked Arlathan, they took these mirrors and tried to unlock their power. But all they could use them for was communication over long distances. Ah, you have a friend with a special interest. Maybe she needs to talk to someone.
My people crossed paths with another Dalish clan not too long ago. 2 of their young hunters encountered a strange mirror in some ruins. One disappeared, the other became deathly ill. They found the one, and the other died. They left Ferelden and traveled north to forget their sorrows.
Well wishes, Warcraft Code. And I hope you enjoy as we keep going, especially when we get to Dragon Age Inquisition, where I give it every negative in the universe. So yeah, there's our Dalish origin. It's actually, if you were paying attention, they referenced every origin as we went through Origins, except for Dalish. It never came up unless you were Dalish, until now. Finally! Finally we get to the point where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, they're dead.
What became of the mirror?
Shattered. Destroyed.
Why?
It was corrupted by the Darkspawn, beyond hope of recovery. They did it to protect others.
Even broken, it could be used to find the others. No, don't get ahead of yourself, Finn. You have to be sure.
What? What do you know?
This is so exciting. We have to get to the repository. Hadley has the key. Come.
So, okay, well, welcome to the party. You know what, hang on, here, have blood magic. What? There you go. Why would you give me blood magic? Because I think it would be funny. Why would you do that? I feel like I already said this. I would be okay with a reboot of Mass Effect. Keeping in mind we've already had one soft reboot of Mass Effect. Having said that, I would prefer just fleshing out the setting itself a bit more, rather than just rebooting it. Who would I trust with it, though?
Look, Finn, he fetched me a flower. Oh, how thoughtful. It's very pretty. Slobbery, but pretty.
You should just tell him to fetch a Morrigan. It would save us a lot of trouble.
It is what he's doing. Who would I trust with Mass Effect? Other than me, obviously. Mass Effect rewrite?
Hadley! Just the man I was looking for.
Not looking very hard, were you? I'm always here.
Good one. So I need to go into the repository.
No.
No? Why not? I'm not some drooling apprentice.
It's because of me, isn't it?
No. The Sentinels have been behaving erratically, so the repository is locked for everyone's safety.
Oh, well then. Sorry for bothering you.
You know what? Hold on. I actually do know... Oh, it'll be exactly the same ending, Jordan. I do know of a developer that I think I would trust with Mass Effect, and I know nobody's going to agree with me on this. Nobody's going to agree with me. Just making sure I get the name of the developer right. Yep, that's them. Respawn.
I would certainly like to see the situation resolved, but I would hate to put you in danger. The repository isn't crucial to the daily functioning of the Circle, so we've left it until we can spare more men.
Think about it. Think about it. Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, Titanfall, Titanfall 2, Apex, and, oh, by the way, Jedi Survivor. There's some talented devs, and they know shooting. I would honestly call them probably at least tied for the best FPS devs I've ever encountered. Right up there with the original id team. Yet FromSoft do the no! You know that meme from The Office? No! No! Ah! I'll help.
Oh, very well. It's your next. But before you go, what's so important down there?
The statue. It knows things about Tevinter, and I need to speak to it.
All right. Be careful and keep the mess to a minimum.
You know that talking to inanimate objects is a sign of insanity.
Not when it talks back.
You think the statue talks to you?
It's complicated. It wasn't always a statue. You'll see.
I mean, that would make a lot of sense, Jesse Ward. You remember the two Avar in Awakening? Now, granted, those two people who were cursed, but, I mean, I bet the specifics are fairly similar between the two. So, to explain my point in full for anybody who didn't get it immediately, my idea is, obviously, Respawn doesn't really know how to make RPGs, but what they do know how to make is FPSs.
And these sentinels are going back to normal. We need to deal with the rest of the rips in the Veil if we can.
So, the Mass Effect games are shooters. I'm sorry, they are. So let's get a really talented shooter team in there and let them do their thing with it. The only Mass Effect game that isn't quite a shooter is Mass Effect 1. Now, that is a fair point, but even Mass Effect 1 is still, you know, leaning that direction. Mass Effect 1 just had more RPG elements to it. It's more of an RPG.
This used to be where the phylacteries of the apprentices were stored. They've been moved to a more secure location.
Thanks,
We don't
Jowan.
know where they are anymore.
Yeah, you can also turn Mass Effect 1 into a shooter. Good point. I usually don't play it that way, but you can. Let me put it in a different way, Eternus. Anybody can make an RPG. Not many people can make a good shooter. And, well, what's the most common thing every RPG in the entire world has with itself? Like, what's the most common element of all RPGs? This is technically two things, but it's the same thing. Focus on story at the expense of gameplay. The overwhelming majority of RPGs do not have good gameplay. There are RPGs with good gameplay, but honestly, I would say that's maybe in the 1 to 2% range of all RPGs, especially when you look at all RPGs. Story can be done to any game. Oh, by the way, Respawn does good story, too. Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, Jedi Survivor, Titanfall, Titanfall 2. So it's not like they don't have a good story team. So they've got story locked in, and they can make good gameplay.
The prison is breached. I see the encroaching darkness.
Wow. It does talk.
Hello?
The shadow will consume all.
That's an interesting question, Blade Travell. I'm not sure. That's correct. I do not consider them RPGs. But we've talked about that. Gameplay, genres, etc. I remember this statue.
Something is causing it distress. The tears in the Veil, most likely. The statue's useless until we mend the Veil.
Well, that's good enough. Let's go mend the veil.
This should be easy enough.
That's true, Tara. Lucas and Mary suddenly find themselves without a job, so hey, they might be available.
I sense something drawing near. On your guard!
Can I just hide back here?
Yeah, let's make this quick, shall we?
Turn-based RPGs with good gameplay. Final Fantasy X, DOS 2, DOS 1. Dragon Quest XI. I was just thinking about the Dragon Quest games. Because not all of them really manage the gameplay axis that well. But 11 certainly did.
Thanks to creators. Creators guide my arm.
That might be my list, if I'm being honest. There's probably others.
On it. Let's make this quick, shall we?
Kingdom Hearts is not turn-based, last I checked. I could be wrong about that. That would be funny, Von Falkenstein. That's an interesting question, but I don't give negatives for reusing assets unless they do it badly. Having said that, there's a whole lot of asset reuse here, so we'll have to judge that as we go. I would not count Banner Saga any more than I would count XCOM. Fire Emblem is kind of an asterisk, but I would count Fire Emblem. In which case we would have to add 3 houses to that list. Suikoden 2 does not have particularly good gameplay, no. My opinion. My terrible, terrible opinion. Someone asked for good turn-based RPGs in the gameplay axis, specifically. FF6 does not have turn-based gameplay. Most FFs do not have turn-based gameplay. That's why I only listed 10. I already listed DOS 2. Yep, that's the first one I mentioned. Also mentioned DOS 1. Earthbound doesn't really have good gameplay, to be very
Stop trying to
honest.
kill us now. Let's get back to the statue.
FF9 also does not have turn-based gameplay. The only turn-based FF games are 1, 2, 3, 10,
Shoot!
and that's it.
You have to give him something. You can't just say fetch and expect him to retrieve random things.
Why not? Once heard of someone with a really smart Mabari who would run off and fetch things like cake. I think this one's broken.
FF6 and 4 and 5 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10-2 all use what's called the ATB system. Time is always moving forward, and once your bar fills, you can take an action.
I am the spirit of Eleni Zenobia, once consort and...
Advisor to Archon Valerius, blah blah, fall of the house. Yes, we've been through that.
Finn. Greetings.
You two seem close.
We've conversed before, on the Imperium. It's hard to get answers out of it. Requires parsing all the grandiose mumbo-jumbo. We know where a broken Eluvian lies. Can it still be used to find the others?
Scry, the broken glass, dagger sharp, will be your key.
Okay.
Yes. The lights of Arlathan will illuminate the Scrya's path. The Archons possessed them, but they were misused, befouled, and lost, like so much the Imperium touched. Some were saved, carried by fugitives from the Elven city. Their sorrow awoke the stone, and her children sheltered them. They found a sanctuary in the deep halls of Cadhalash, now known as Kadash. There the lights of Arlathan lie, shielded from unworthy eyes.
Kadash Taig? It's not that old.
So you know of it. Convenient.
Goodbye, Finn. We will not speak again.
What? What's that supposed to mean?
It's fine, don't worry about it. It just means once we leave this game, you will stop existing as a character, because last I checked, Finn is never mentioned again in anything. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. Final Fantasy Tactics would count as a turn-based tactical RPG, which honestly is a different genre. It's the same reason I didn't originally think of Fire
Tell us
Emblem.
what's going on.
The Eluvians are linked, all of them. If you have one, you can find the others, if they still exist. But the one you know of is broken and corrupted. So we need something else to amplify the magic.
The lights of Arlathan.
Yes.
Alright. Let's go.
Let me come with you. I can help. Please. I thought the mirrors were all destroyed. I can't pass up this chance at actually finding one.
Alright. Let's do it.
I had permission to leave the tower to continue my research some time ago, but I never had the opportunity till now. I guess there's always a first time, huh? Ready to go when you are.
Well, I do need a healer, because I ain't healing you. Yes, we are in Witch Hunt, Umbral Magnus.
Ariane. Does your name mean anything in Elven?
Blessed creators, why does everyone ask that of people from other cultures?
Because everybody's name means something to someone. That's how names work. They were originally denominators that were indicative of something. How many names in English, excuse me, English is actually the wrong way to put it. How many names in modern day life mean something? You may not know what they mean, but they freaking mean something, you little twat.
I didn't mean...
What about you? Are you named after an honorable fish's appendage?
Well, Florian Phineas Horatio Aldebrand Esquire was a bit of a mouthful. And I was tired of the other apprentices calling me Flora.
Well, as an honor, I will not call you Flora. But moving on. I mean, sometimes they skip the name, the word that means something, and just go for the meaning. They just call them, you know, Hope. Or, you know, Star.
I'm not sure I like the Deep Roads. Fewer Darkspawn than expected, but it feels like we're being watched. Wait, why did we stop? Is this Kadash Taig?
Ariana?
This is it, according to the maps.
Right, so I've been going through my old notes.
Uh-huh.
And I came across this footnote. Apparently, the elves would magically conceal relics of great significance, thus shielding them from unworthy eyes. And given what the Tevinters did, I'd say they count as unworthy.
You don't say.
Right. So, the Lights of Arlathan are under this particular enchantment.
That's my hypothesis. But they might just be buried in the ground, too. Actually, that's very likely. It looks like Kadash Tig was built on the ruins of Katalash. The lights of Arlathan could be miles below us.
I liked the other theory more.
If the elves concealed the relics with magic, only the blood of their kin will reveal them. Ariane, we need your blood.
Excuse me?
Just a few drops, that's it.
This is Dragon Age. There's no such thing as a few drops. Also, I already taught him blood magic just because it amused me, but this is the other reason. Ariana, please.
You share the same blood as the Arlathan elves, so you're the only one this enchantment might recognize.
Fine. Just because hearing that gets me all tingly. A few drops.
I'll be gentle.
Did you go for the palm like a moron?
Reveal vortices of magic. Standing in them should allow us to see the energy being drawn to the relics, which will lead us to them.
Oh god, it would be Metroid 1, Yura.
Influence of the lights of Arlathan. Ariane's blood will unveil them, but we have to be close.
Don't worry, there's no Darkspawn down here.
I will defeat you!
What I really find amusing about Witch Hunt is they give us a much better designed team for Witch Hunt, which has very little combat with one notable exception. And yet they give us garbage for the frickin' Golems of Amgarak one, which is the hardest fight in the entire game. Either they learned, or they're dicks. Take your pick. I'm cool with either, really.
Interesting. This carving over here is an old dwarven dialect. If you find more writing like this, I could probably translate it.
Or we could, you know, get on with it, because we're here for a reason.
A magical vortex. We can use it to reveal the energy. Do you see it? Can you follow the path?
Boom, boom, boom.
I always thought dwarves must be dull without magic.
Oh, I just lost internet. That's cool.
This is amazing.
Well, whatever. We'll just keep killing things. It's like they always say in those Pixar films. Just keep killing, just keep killing. Oops, let's not use the wrong button here. So do I have internet in general? Looks like I do, because I'm still seeing chat. Yep, nope, I have internet. My internet's fine. Cool, so that makes it Twitch. On Twitch's end. Perfect. That's what I wanted. God, you know...
Something's here. Oh, Guardians! That's what that word on the scroll meant.
Thanks, Finn.
Here we go!
Appreciate you.
The lights of Arlathan are old lanterns.
As you wish.
I didn't realize the statue was capable of being literal.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh well.
I should study dwarven history when I return.
Dwarven history is actually kind of fascinating.
Ooh, what's that? A monument of some kind. Where's my notebook?
Finn, could you finish killing the enemies before you go geeking out? Like, I don't mind, really. But, like, if you could just focus for 5 seconds. That was Twitch, by the way. My internet was fine. So, no idea what's going on with Twitch right now. I mean, now I can blame Starfield. Unlike the last week when it was just being Twitch.
I have a good feeling about... Oops. Nothing here.
Thanks for that, Finn. Really. I really appreciate you.
Excellent!
You know, considering there is a hard fight coming up, I should do something really quick. Do that, and might as well start blowing everything. This is the end. Use all your elixirs.
Torches. Let's see.
I see one.
In hindsight, we should have expected resistance like this.
The game really doesn't want me to play Dragon Age 2, Jordan. And yeah, I don't know what Twitch is doing either. It's something on Twitch's end.
We just need a couple more.
Twitch is just being twitchy.
It's like standing in a field of stars. And they're showing us the way.
A star field, you might say.
There!
This should be easy enough.
I like Jordan's reaction there. Just die.
Pay attention to where they're going.
Just die. Nothing else.
Those carvings, the masonry. Look at the craftsmanship on...
Finn!
Sorry.
Finn, could you... Oh my god, this guy is gonna kill me. Or I'm gonna kill him. Or both. I am rather fond of the WAP emote. Listen, I'm only capable of one type of humor. Dad humor. And if I've learned anything from years of analyzing humor, it's that when you can only do one type of joke, you really need to lean into it.
What we could do if we hadn't lost this magic.
Well, you can enslave the entire world and sacrifice thousands of people in order to elevate some of your nobility and treat them as if they're gods. So, you know, that would be cool. Oh my god, did you seriously make Lotra part of the brown era of gaming era? Fair enough. Wait, well.
That was strange to think of the dwarves giving shelter in this darkness to the elves who fled Arlathan.
Nah, I wouldn't worry about it.
So you've never been outdoors? Till now?
I have been. I just don't care much for it. We had to do stretching exercises. I got sweaty. There was dirt. During my apprenticeship, they thought getting fresh air and exercise at least once a week would do us good.
Fresh air and sunlight is good for you.
You know what fills fresh air in the summer? Mosquitoes. Hungry for sweet, untested mage flesh.
Well, when you put it that way...
Luckily, it didn't last long. One day, an apprentice made a break for it. Jumped off the dock and started swimming for the shore. The Templars couldn't jump in after him. Not with the armor on. Finally found him a week later. We stopped having to go out after that. That mage, Anders, never stopped trying to escape, though. Haven't heard from him since his last attempt.
I hear he's in two places at once. So... Speaking as someone who really loves both sunlight and fresh air, screw mosquitoes. Just screw them right in their tiny little blood sacs. When I was much younger and lived in, better climates, I made it a regular point to just leave my door and or window open just because I liked the air. I'm one of those weird people that doesn't like that stuffy thing. You probably know what I'm talking about. When a room or a house or an apartment just hasn't had fresh air in long enough so the air just kind of gets a little stagnant. Not a fan.
This is like playing hide and seek, isn't it?
There it is.
Here it comes.
This should be easy enough.
I mean, mosquitoes aren't just irritating. They are a huge spreader of diseases.
On your guard.
They
We have 4 lights of our
take
Latin.
blood from some species and trade it amongst other species.
Let's head to the Elven Ruins when you're ready.
Like, that's... Not a lot of creatures do that. You know? Like, they are a prime disease risk. Which I'm sure there's a more eloquent way to put than that. Right up there with fleas and ticks. I'm sorry, hang on, what am I doing? Oh, yeah, duh. Yeah, no, the problem with wiping out mosquitoes isn't really the impact it'll have on the environment. I have a feeling we could probably manage. Really. The problem is, good luck.
These are the ruins. The broken Illuvian should be around here.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, deja vu.
Hate the outside so much, why come with us?
Couldn't pass up a chance to learn more about the ancient elves and the mirrors. Besides, the company is good.
Thanks.
I meant the dog.
So, I did this on purpose, too. We began Dragon Age Origins with the Daedalus intro, the worst of the intros, in my opinion.
As you wish.
So, here we are.
Enemies approaching.
Bats, too. Fife.
On it. Time for some fun.
That's true, Jordan.
These people were very sick before they died. Metabellus, Lethalus.
Don't think it's contagious, do you?
Hey, Lord Haremont. Who are you? Oh, it's an infected. Okay. You know, truthfully, I don't think it changes much at all. Speaking as someone whose main is an elven mage, I don't remember this dialogue being noticeably different here. Now, if you're a Dalish elf, that I don't know. I've never played a Dalish elf in this game, and I never will. I'll never forgive them for the death of my boy. I mean, the Dalish origin could have been awesome. It's just, as you say, it feels like one of the... Yeah, no kidding, Blade Joel. It feels like one of the origins they just did not have... I'm saying this in the wrong direction. It felt like they really, really poured their time and effort into a few of the origins, because some of them just have so much more going for them. Human Noble, Dwarven Noble, Dwarf Commoner. All three of those have tons of meat on the bones. Then they start to drift off a little bit, not just in quality, but in quantity. And we've got Mage, and we've got City Elf, and then we've got the Dalish Elf, which is just barely there. And that's my point. It feels overall like they were either running out... Because remember, there was going to be other origins, too. We know this. So it's possible they were just starting to run dry on the well, and, you know, we're like, okay, we need to get on with this. And they had already done work on the Dalish origin enough to not axe it, but they didn't have extra time to really flesh it out. So they just kind of left Dalish Elf in. I apparently need loot. Yeah, the human rogue origin, I believe, is what people usually call that one, Dr. Winter. And I feel like there was another one. But the human rogue one was the only one that got any substantial work done on it, to my knowledge. that's why I'm looting. Because I'm looking for a key.
This should be easy enough.
I mean, Lord knows that... There you are. Lord knows they do plenty with the Dalish later. In 2, but in Inquisition...
You or me, and it isn't going to be me.
It probably will, Lord Harriman. I would be surprised if it won't.
Right.
Now, if you think it should get a net positive, clearly I am required by law to disagree with you. So. I don't know if I agree, Jordan. I would say that's big, I just don't think that's huge. Unlike, say, Inquisition, where, you know, it's main plot territory. Well, let's just pull this over here.
You had it coming.
Really isn't my cup of tea.
And yeah, the mirror is obviously a lot more relevant to Inquisition than it is to 2. I don't know, Eternus. I really, really don't know how Inquisition is going to review.
This should
I
be
am as
easy
curious as anybody.
Let's get started.
I can't believe this is one of the Illuvians. It's magnificent. And broken. Mostly broken. With the shard and the lights of Arlathan, we should be able to scry for an unbroken mirror. This looks like a suitable place to do the ritual. We can start whenever you're ready.
See, Jesse Ward understands. No, see, it is funny, because even though I have never reviewed 2 on any level whatsoever, I'm pretty sure I can tell you what 2's review is going to be like. It's going to have a positive and a negative for almost everything. Very few parts of 2 are universally good or bad.
Here we go.
But Inquisition? Oh. And I've reviewed Inquisition before. It's the first game I've ever reviewed. I said very few. Yeah, Aveline is universally good, Varric is universally good, and Act 3 is universally bad. That might be it for the universals, honestly. Even the tone flits around a bit, and I like the idea of the tone.
Am I bleeding? Oh, look, a rip in my robe.
What are you... Finn?
What happened to Ariane? Give us your blood. Who cares if it hurts?
It's my blood. That's different.
Did it work?
I've pinpointed another Illuvian. It's in the Dragonbone Wastes. The Tevintus probably moved it there to see if the ancient dragon bones could enhance the Illuvian's power.
Alright, I've been to those wastes. I didn't see a mirror.
It might be hidden. Or only appear to those who know its location.
Then let's go.
Shall we?
Let me just get this again. Your name is Florian Phineas...
Horatio Aldebrandt, Esquire. Can't forget the Esquire. Father insisted.
Did your parents hate you?
No, they adore me. In fact, I'm sure my name is a result of overwhelming love replacing good sense.
Right.
Yeah, the Mark of the Assassin... I'm going to save my thoughts on that until we get there. I think the other DLC, the other DLC in 2 is a lot better. Not a big fan of Sebastian, though. Oh, I absolutely will, Lord Harriman. I've got 2... I should write those down before I forget. Thank you for reminding me. Oh, no, I already wrote down one of them. Let's put it here.
We're here. Keep your eyes open for dragons. And mirrors.
Then... Yeah, speaking as someone who has 100%ed both Morrowind and Oblivion, I would rather die than 100% Dragon Age Inquisition. So, like, if you could just get Mercy out really quick, Blade Javal. Right in the throat, you know. Vol'jin style.
I've never met a dragon worshipper before. Not much for small talk, are they?
Why would anyone worship a dragon?
Dragons are big, powerful, and they breathe fire! Some people are easily impressed.
Oh, and yes, before you ask, that does mean I did all 70-some-odd Oblivion gates. No, I don't consider that to have been time well spent, before you ask.
Is it time to flee? I will make your head explode!
Hi!
This should be easy enough.
Stay still!
Honestly, yeah, Blade Javal. There are some games I'm happy / proud of 100%ing, like Mario games or Zelda games, or a couple of Final Fantasy games. And then there's games that I really wish I had never bothered with. In my defense, I 100%ed Oblivion because I was suicidally depressed at the time. I was just looking for something to do to take my mind off of things. I was in a wheelchair when I 100%ed Oblivion. I actually started playing Morrowind, and I was not having a lot of fun with that. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. It's okay. Even then, I was so unhappy with the run. I only kept doing it because of, essentially, sunk cost fallacy. And then when I finished, I was like, you know what? I'm going to play more of that WoW game. I think that's okay. That should be fun. He was never heard from again. I would say yes, Velton Ryu. Some of those, 100%ing some of the stuff in Oblivion is just kind of, actually, no, I'm going to take that back. You only need a guide for a few tiny little things in Oblivion to 100%. Most everything else you can find pretty easily in the game itself. So, never mind. I changed my mind.
What is...
So this fight sucks.
Of Varterral? It can't be. They're only legends. It is said they were rock and tree, wind and rain, given form and breath by the elven gods to protect their people.
To protect their people? Then why does it look like it's going to eat you?
So if you're paying attention, the entire Golem of Amgarok DLC was extraordinarily hard, right?
As you
Just really, really amping up the difficulty all the way through, right? I bring that up because Witch Hunt did not do that. Instead, Witch Hunt is pretty average difficulty stuff for the kind of stuff we've been fighting in Awakening. And then this thing shows up. And we're not going to have as much of a time with it because I know what I'm doing and I prepped for this fight. But, still. I almost didn't get that off, too. Did you see that? Listen, if Dragon Age Tuna is known for anything, it's asset reuse. RRC. And by RRC, I mean, Doom Runner.
show me what you got.
And dead. But yeah, this fight was the other fight I was worried about. So I'm glad we managed it. So, what's funny is someone said earlier, we didn't find the mirror last time because there was a giant broodmother in the way. They were not being facetious. This is literally where the mother fight was in Awakening. And as you can see, there's the mirror. It's right there. Like visible from here. Anyways.
The Eluvian. And it's glowing. We should...
And they've just left the narrative. Thanks for carrying me here. See you never.
I think she's expecting you. Ask her about our book.
And she just left the narrative.
No further, please. One more step and I leave. For good this time.
Hello to you too, Morrigan.
I assume you know what this is. I have gone to great lengths to find and activate this portal. Give me reason and I use it, and you will not be able to follow.
Then why haven't you left, if that's true?
I remained to see if it was truly you. I had to know. Tell me, why did you come?
You know, that's a good question. I like option 4 is to kill you, of course, but no, we were friends. Come on. Like actual friends. And in another lifetime we were lovers, but that's unrelated.
So you chase me all this way to offer help? I will never understand you, and you will never understand me.
We tended to work pretty well despite that.
Yes, I suppose we did. I would not even know where to begin explaining.
Well, where's the child?
He is safe, and beyond your reach. All you need to know is that the child is an innocent. He knows nothing of the destiny that lies before him.
Right. What's your plan?
My plan is to leave and prepare the child for what is to come. Such preparation requires time and power. I must have both if I am to be successful. More than this, I dare not say, even to you.
Why did you betray me? She didn't, so we're not going to pick that one. But if you do, she says, I didn't betray you.
Then allow me to provide you a warning. 'Tis Flemeth you should beware of, not me. Hunt her if you hunt anyone.
But I killed her, and I mean, like a year ago at this point, she came back in Dragon Age 2.
My mother has tricked her way past death and more. She is no more finished than I am. I thought I knew what Flemeth planned. I thought what she craved was immortality, and yet I was wrong. So very wrong. She is no blood mage, no abomination. She is not even truly human.
She's an elf.
Ritual was but a means to an end, a herald for what is to come.
I really hate these kind of to-be-continueds, by the way. Because it's the worst kind of to-be-continue. You are not prepared for what is to come. Or, you will never understand the death. Like, this is the larval form. I hate it when fiction pulls this off. Because they don't just say, oh yeah, no, the Reapers are coming. And, you know, no, they have to be all vague about it. They have to vague it up. I hate vaguing up. There's actually a term for it. It's called can't spit it out. What's coming? Them. We don't know what we can do about them. Therefore. That's a good question, Voltario. Do you consider the Star Wars movies to be one overall narrative? No joke, I'm just curious. So, do you have any details, Morgan?
Change is coming to the world. Many fear change and will fight it with every fiber of their being. But sometimes, change is what they need most. Sometimes, change is what sets them free.
Okay, cool. So I was hoping for actual deets.
It is all I have to give.
No, seriously. Morgan.
I cannot tarry longer. The time has come for me to go.
I mean, you don't have to do this alone. In fact, it's very stupid if you do.
I wish it were not so. But I do. There is one last thing I must tell you. If you will allow me. I left you a gift. The Dalish book is there, and something you will find of great interest. Goodbye, my friend.
And I'm not even sure if our warden will have any presence in Inquisition. We get a reference in Inquisition if we have romanced her. I'm curious as well, but it's actually the specific reason why I did. The end. Hope you liked that. And so the Grey Warden essentially vanishes from frickin' reality. Now, it makes perfect sense why. It's irritating, frustrating, and aggravating, but it does make sense why. And I've already told you why. It's because Dragon Age Origins was not designed with a sequel in mind. And so the number of permutations for your Warden, including whether or not they're even alive, is not insubstantial. They just can't plan for all those in a coherent narrative, so they don't. So the Warden doesn't exist anymore. And that was their solution to that problem. I agree. What they should have done is they should have chosen a canon warden, and then stuck with that. People would whine about it, and arguably they had a right to whine about it. But the fact of the matter is, the only other alternative is what I already mentioned. Nothing. I cannot put into words how much it frustrated me when I picked up Dragon Age 2 for the first time. And you're probably thinking, I thought you liked Dragon Age 2. Yeah, but it took me till my second playthrough to actually appreciate the game. Because the first playthrough, all I could think of was, why is this sequel to the game I just finished like an hour ago, not acknowledging the game I just finished an hour ago? Origins ends with several dangling threads, both in the original game, Awakening, and in Witch Hunt, and none of those have anything to do with anything in 2. They don't even reference most of them. Frankly, yeah, Lord Harrowmont. Instead, I got Dragon Age 2. We'll see how it actually reviews. So now let's actually finish up the audit, shall we? I don't know. Let's do Metroid. Dragon Age Inquisition was as good as it was bad my first time around, Von Falkenstein, by memory. Like, I was extraordinarily negative about that game until I left the Hinterlands, but also because I really disliked a lot of the gameplay decisions they made. But then there were sequences I absolutely loved, like the party in Orlais, or most of the character quests, like the whole arc with Cassandra. That was fantastic. When we do the little Red Lyrium quest, and I'm going to say vaguely to avoid spoilers, that was great. The goat. Like, there's some really good stuff in Inquisition. Oh, also, the spider sequence. I know that sounds strange, but I stand by it. But you get my point. But Inquisition was also marred by... Yeah, exactly, Timon. So we're going to put another banter positive. This is gameplay, not story.
Is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
Oh, I died. Like, that's just... I needed that. The way she said it, too, just absolutely sold it. Yeah, I'm one of those people who didn't like Solas as a character. I'm vaguely weirded out that I am in the minority on that. I was always shocked when I found out that Solas is such a popular character. No judgment. It never even occurred to me that people would like him as a character. We'll see what we think of him this time around. Although not for a bit. We gotta get through 2 first. No, Blade Cheval. No. They're also barely different. There's one quest that's different. Yeah, that about tracks. 60.27 hours. And that's with all DLCs. And that tracks. Presentation is probably the difference, Timon. But again, we'll see what we think this time around. We'll see when we get there. Oh, we're going to be in a hurry in a second here. I would rather eat molten glass, Tara. I really doubt it, Jordan. But we'll see. When did we start Dragon Age Origins? Because of me being sick, we kind of had a weird arc on this one. It's a good question, Doom Runner. We'll find out in a minute. Oh yeah, I should close down the guessing game. Let's just do that right now. If you haven't guessed, tough. It's been open for like a week. There, it's locked down. Oh, that's interesting. Apparently you can only romance Solas if you're Elven. Which makes perfect sense, but God, that's kind of awful, isn't it? That's, appropriate. Alright. One last run through the audit. Let's see here. No, it makes perfect sense. Man is super racist. In, like, honestly, one of the worst ways. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Mage. We're playing mage in both from now on. For the same reason, too. I've never played a mage in 2. I'll explain why when we get there. And obviously I've never played a mage in Inquisition because we only played Inquisition once. So, I played Rogue. Hated that, by the way. Hated playing Rogue in Inquisition. God. That probably colored my opinion of Inquisition right there. That was awful. Probably Lord Harrimont. Lord knows Cullen isn't exactly the greatest guy to begin with. Although, he gets better in Inquisition, so give him that. He's mellowed a bit. Yeah, I was doing dual daggers, Orcano. And... yeah. That is not something I will ever repeat. Plus 88 to story. That's down, by the way. Yes, Surf. Dragon Age Origins replayability. Thoughts? Here's the thing. The second replayability positive for Origins is obvious. That's not even a debate. Past that, I'll have to think about that. Oh no, this is definitely not triple positive. There's no way. This doesn't even come close to something like Civilization or Crusader Kings. But I think I'm gonna go with double. I think I'm gonna go with double. I mean, it's okay. I didn't give Mega Man 2 that 3 pluses to replayability. So I feel you on that. Final gameplay score is plus 17. That is also down, by the way. So I suppose there's your definitive answer. The score went down with the DLCs. It's not really shocking. Thank you very, very much, DirectD. And welcome to the 2-year club. I will put that anniversary sub towards... a second. The Zelda block, the BRPG block, and the Kingdom Hearts block. Thank you. Always. Oh yeah, speaking of games that I replay over and over and over. Super Metroid. Super Metroid will probably get the 1 replayability positive. I don't think it'll get more than that. Let's do some math. My favorite thing. Okay. 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 Let's go through this in some detail, shall we? Before we give you the final score. No graphs. No graphs. But I do have some direct comparisons. I was paying attention to this as we went. That would be nice, Jordan, but it's probably not going to happen. So let's compare this directly to Baldur's Gate 3. On the gameplay axis, well, Dragon Age Origins had better All Roads Lead to Road gameplay, probably because it was designed to be played in a vacuum. Shared a lot of the same negatives, which I'm just going to kind of gloss over here for a second. Had worse boss design, pretty much universally. Better build design. As many bugs as Baldur's Gate 3, so that's funny. Better choices gameplay, which, again, makes sense. Let's see. Similar controls. Slightly more interesting combat. Slightly better core mechanics. Let's go forward a little bit here. Ask me again after I've reviewed it, Trihexia. Encounter design was better in Baldur's Gate 3, overall. The graphics issues were worse in Dragon Age Origins. I would be shocked. Better HUD in Baldur's Gate 3. Better interface in Baldur's Gate 3. Worse interface in Baldur's Gate 3. Yes, both. Obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 had better kit. Duh. I mean, it's 5th edition. That was a gimme. Better level design in Dragon Age Origins. Let's scroll forward a little bit here. Better MSQ. This is all in the gameplay axis, by the way. Better mod support. Obvious, there was no mod support for them. Worse music. Dragon Age Origins had worse music. Baldur's Gate 3 had much worse padding. Almost double. Dragon Age Origins has better replayability, which I stand behind. Baldur's Gate 3 has a better save system, which I stand behind. And that's all on the gameplay side of things. Over here, on the story axis, I'll only give you a few of these. Dragon Age Origins has better atmosphere and tone, better banter, much worse sprite work, worse characters, which it sounds weird, but no, I stand by that. yeah, padding was just... Dragon Age Origins was funnier, in my opinion, and had a much better plot, but had not as good moments, and had a better outro. That's not hard. Worse storytelling mechanics, and way better voice acting. No offense, Baldur's Gate 3. Dragon Age Origins is kind of the king of voice acting. I'm not sure any game will ever surpass it in voice acting. Yeah. Oh, also, Dragon Age Origins had worse writing, which is kind of the catch-all category. The difference between build design and kit, or design... Blah, blah, blah. So kit is actually a kind of a catch-all category. Because... It's true, what kind of... like, if I'm playing a Mega Man game, the power-ups I get from the bosses, that's kit. There's no builds there, right? So in an RPG space, kit is usually the basic pieces you use in order to function in the game. In this case, it boils down to classes. Mage, warrior, rogue. There's your kit right there, okay? But build is how you can... build gameplay is how you can make different combinations of the available kit in order to design your own build. Not every game even has that as an option. Even a game... So, like, some people will argue, and I disagree with this, that, for example, Final Fantasy IV has build gameplay because you can change your party members. That's actually a bad example, but whatever. I disagree with that completely. I don't think there's any build gameplay in a game just because you can have a party. By contrast, if you have something like the talent system in World of Warcraft, or the materia system in Final Fantasy VII, or the different, like, specifics of how you build your character in Dragon Age Origins, that's build gameplay. Does that make sense? So... And yeah, build, not every game even has... Even RPGs, not every RPG has build gameplay. I tend to like build gameplay. I don't think I've ever given a negative for builds. Nope, that's not true. I have, actually. Because there are some games where there's some builds that are demonstrably worse than others, to the point where it's not acceptable. And some games where it's easy to do what I call build yourself into a corner, where you are screwed with regards to your build, and you can't fix it because you did it wrong. Badges, like, maybe Vault and Rio. Like that's bare bones build design right there. So, obviously this game's direct competitor is Baldur's Gate 3. Let's go through the numbers. Baldur's Gate 3 got a net plus 79 to story, which across... Hold on, 1 second. Let me double check a number. I just noticed something. I think I know what's going on. I mean, if we're comparing it to Mass Effect 3, which we can do, it's worth noting. Then, yeah. Well, you have never played System Shock 2, Logue. Having to restart the game because you've built yourself into a corner is probably... Let me walk this back a second. Then we just disagree, Logue, because there's a gradient here, obviously. I keep using System Shock 2 as an example because System Shock 2 is the worst build yourself into a corner game I've ever seen. And yeah, there's no respec, there's no fixing it, and it's easy to get to a point where you cannot progress with the game, and your only option is to reload, either an earlier save, assuming you're keeping them, or starting the game over. That's not good game design, in my opinion, and it's something that is avoidable on behalf of the developers. Not every build has to be equal. That's stupid. But every build has to be feasible. Anyways. 1 second, please. Yeah, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines had some build yourself in a corner. Several games have that. I keep using System Shock just because it's such an easy example, but it's not the only one. 1 second, please. No, not in Dragon Age Origins, Croatia. Someone was just asking if build gameplay can be a negative, and that was the answer. Although that being said, you can fall behind difficulty curves in several games. That's usually unrelated, but anyways, I'm getting off topic. So, where the hell was I? Alright, so, Dragon Age Origins has a plus 88 to story. Baldur's Gate 3 has a plus 79 to story, which I stand behind. That makes Origins density much higher at 1.46, as opposed to Baldur's Gate's, which has 0.75. However, Dragon Age Origins ratio is only 79%, whereas Baldur's Gate 3's is 84%. Dragon Age Origins had more negatives, put simply. Gameplay-wise, Dragon Age Origins had a plus 17, which is good for an RPG, but pretty bad otherwise. Baldur's Gate 3 had plus 21. Kind of the same situation, honestly. That means Dragon Age Origins gameplay density, however, is substantially better, because it's a shorter game. 1.74? That doesn't sound right. It's because it's not right. It's 0.28. Sorry. Let's try that again. 0.28, whereas Baldur's Gate 3's gameplay density was 0.2. Oh, absolutely, Luke. Both games were really close to not having good gameplay. Dragon Age Origins has only a 56% ratio, and Baldur's Gate 3 had a 57% ratio. For those of you not aware of how that works, 50% would mean 0, and anything below 50% would mean net negative gameplay. That brings us to our golden number. Can I get a drum roll, please? Baldur's Gate 3 got a 208.05. Dragon Age Origins got a 200. $12.65. That is such a minor difference between the two. I'm a little bonkered by it. But that does give Dragon Age Origins the edge. Anything in the 200s range is bonkers good, yes. But that is very, very close. A definitive edition of Baldur's Gate 3, which fixes all my issues with it, would probably surpass Dragon Age Origins, yes. I am a little surprised it didn't score higher, but only a little. The DLC really did drag that down. In fact, I was actually finding myself thinking, if Origins was just Origins by myself, I'm pretty sure it would be a much cleaner win over Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, it was much higher, Blades of Fall. So let's look up the golden number here. Let's see who came closest to that. 212.65. Looks like that's going towards Pancakes, who continues to use his psychic powers and powers of precognition to, for some reason, just guess the correct golden number. It's like 3 in a row here. Getting creepy. It's getting creepy. Yeah, no, the DLC just chopped that score down. Which is a damn shame. Very common, as I've said before, very common. I do still think... impossible package. I do still think I am going to give this game the sushi tag. Which, I know, is big whoop giving a game, a 200-plus game, the sushi tag. It's 200-plus, if you're not familiar with the system, is really, really high. But at the same time, I will probably never get to play this game again. And even if I did, I don't think I'll ever touch the DLCs or expansions ever again. I think I'm just going to play Origins and then walk away from it. Yeah, great game. Don't play the DLC. There's some good stuff there, but Awakening was a net positive, but it dragged. It also added several negatives, and every other DLC... Let me walk that back. Every other DLC that isn't Shale or Soldier's Peak, which I count as part of Origins, was a net negative. Like a substantial net negative. So... Either way, I am going to go ahead and do some paperwork, get caught up. I also actually have some real-life errands to do that shouldn't take me super long. Ostagar's part of Origins. Ostagar's part of Origins! But, yeah. We will be starting Dragon Age 2 today. See you then.